Namaskar, I'm Ashok Vyas. Welcome to this special edition of Inside Tonight, where we will be talking about US economy and the vision of President Trump making America great again and the steps that are being taken. Before we get into current scenario, let us look quickly at the general feel which we have about President Trump's vision from his previous term, where he also was instrumental in offering tax cuts. In 2017, the Tax Cuts and Job Act reduced corporate tax rates from 35% to 21% and lowered individual tax rates also. So now, how that added national debt is also something which suggests an additional 1.9 trillion in debt over 10 years. But overall speaking, deregulation is the key. Then tariff and trade protectionism has been on Trump's mind even before he became president. But where we are right now, with respect to the current Trade Balancing Act, which is initiated by President Trump, what to expect and how those who have wholeheartedly supported Trump feels about where we are as far as primarily economy is concerned. We'll focus on that. And I have the pleasure of welcoming Nilima Madan ji and Vimal Goyal ji for this conversation.
Namaskar.
Namaste. And as the good old saying, ladies first. So, Nilima ji, your quick comments on the way you feel about the hope that we have from President Trump with respect to US economy.
I do hope that ultimately it is good for the American people. That is always a bottom line for any new president. Yes, is he being aggressive? That is being felt by everyone. Is he trying to make quick changes in a very short time? That is also a fact. And the changes in certain ways are quite drastic, especially tariffs, whether it is Doge, whether it is anything that he's trying to do. He is trying to overhaul the entire system. And sometimes when things are done at a very, very fast pace, the whole community or the whole country needs time to digest it. Number one. Number two, the impact of such quick changes can be short term and long term. I understand that the focus is going to be on long term because in the long term it has to benefit all of us, but in the short term it is creating a turmoil. There is no denying that. I think
Absolutely.
that's a good opening statement.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Nilimaji. And let me connect Bimalji with you that the projected $5 trillion revenue over a decade, but it is also coming with significant economic cost. Before we get right into this side, there are some related areas to economy. One of them, which also relates to the policy and the vision of President Trump, which I think also attracted a lot of voters towards President Trump in this second inning. One was migrant issue, and the growth of immigrant also has a certain impact on economy, because if you let people come in thousands, and like we were witnessing in New York also, that the state is providing housing, then some freebies which were costing exchequer a lot, including having provided five-star hotels for some migrants. So keep that also in your opening remarks. As Do you see that is effectively playing out in favor of US economy, the policy for the migrants? Vimalji.
Yes. What happens? Let's start with the migrants. If you remember, in the last 2, 3 years, when migrants have gone up, and so many migrants coming, thousands of people coming to New York. Let's just talk about New York itself. The GDP of New York State went up so much, and that had to do with all the money coming in, and migrants were spending it because even though they were getting all the money from the government, they were spending, and that really put a lot of money into the economy and gave a boost to sales of a lot of vendors, such as bodegas, clothing stores, and everything else. and it became like a sudden boost to the economy in New York and other states. And everyone said, okay, this is great and wonderful. But what they forget is all this money is coming from our pockets, because all this money was tax money that governors were spending. But it was good. It was good that, the all that money came in, and businesses did too well. The only issue was the social network, and the housing and living conditions in New York City and other areas went down. Nassau County basically gave them an ultimatum that no one is allowed to come here. And so we didn't have any changes in Nassau or Suffolk County. But New York City was devastated with all these people hanging out on the streets. So that was the bad thing about it. Uh, Now, in terms of talking about economy and what President Trump is doing, um, initially when he came in the office and he he took the oath, everyone thought this is going to be great and wonderful. We will have stock market going through the roof and everything else, including myself. And a lot of people put more money into stock market. Little that we knew that the whole thing fell apart. Even it went down below what it used to be. So it's a really it's a lesson for everyone to learn that it's going to
Absolutely.
take some
Yeah.
time.
So really, I'll come back to you. And Nilimaji, as consumers are concerned, because of the trade situation, the new equation that President Trump is working on building with different nations, you can imagine the products that you were getting, let's say from China or from other countries, Vietnam, whatever, uh, they won't be available at the same price. Is a common sense that tells any common citizen who is not expert in economics. How do you see the future in terms of potential, call it inflation, and the pressure on the pockets of the common American, Nilimaji?
Whole economy runs on supply and demand, right? If these supplies that are coming from all over the world are going to get extra tariffs, even if the tariffs are going to be more or less or negotiated as time goes on, there is going to be a certain amount that is going to stay, at least as long as President Trump is here. It will create a escalation in the cost price and the CPI and other numbers that we look out for. And the also combining with this, the Doge effect, that a lot of people are not going to have their jobs, or even Mr. Trump removing departments completely, downsizing everything. One, you lost your job, you don't have the money, things became much more expensive. So affordability will become a huge factor. And is it going to, or say in a year and a half, are we going to see a poorer America? Are we going to see a bigger divide? Because the rich who have a lot of money, it's not going to be a pinch in their pocket. It's not going to make a huge difference to them, but it's the smaller majority, lower part of the pyramid that is going to be highly affected. So tariffs, long run, it is going to have a big, I do understand that it is going to settle at some point, but it could have multiple effects and in multiple directions. This is a big conversation.
Absolutely. So Nilima is right, and Vimalji, the vision that President Trump shares, and he's working in bringing more jobs to America.
Yes.
He also talks about America being at the receiving end with the disadvantageous equation with different countries in terms of the kind of the overall idea of imposing tariff proportionately to what they are imposing on American goods is to
Yes.
create jobs here. And but that might happen in the long term, or do you feel that there'll be some short term, very quick, sort of visible results to this policy, that there'll be more job creations, etc. And as Nilimaji mentioned, when uh, departments are removed, thousands of people became unemployed. that is also a cause of concern, but that gets offset in people's mind who are not directly affected, considering that it has resulted in saving money, like the Dodge effect as is I don't have the exact data, but billions of dollars corruption was removed, etc. So do you see that making America as a more sort of fit economy with more approach on cost effective way of functioning?
Okay, so we have to look at it in a different way. I understand you're saying the government, they're cutting down department, they're cutting down employees, and then they're trying to save money, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that, as long as they can do it and they can still provide all the services, social services, intelligence, and avoiding all any kind of terrorist acts and all that stuff. You don't want all that, so you want to make sure that they are protected, and those jobs are still there. Now, here's my take on this. In this country, President Trump is trying to bring industries, trying to bring factories in this country. Where are the workers? Where are the workers who are going to work in the factories? If you look at the data today, there are 500,000 factory jobs that are sitting on the shelf, and they have no people to take them. Right now, over 500,000 jobs are sitting, and we have no people to take them. That's the biggest problem. And now you're trying to encourage more factories to be open. Number one, it's going to take years and years and years before you build a factory. The bigger problem is we don't have people to do this. We are throwing all the migrants out. We can't even find a landscaper now. That's the biggest problem. We don't have people to work at the gas stations because we are throwing all these illegal migrants out. The restaurants, they're losing people because ICE is walking in and taking all the immigrants out who are undocumented. So the problem is that people, America lives on immigrant labor, whether documented or undocumented. And so no matter what you want to do, you want to open factories, we don't have a problem with that. But where are the workers? So that's where the dilemma is.
So, on the one hand, we are trying to address the situation of unemployment, and then we have the argument coming from Vimalji, right or wrong, based on facts, and probably there needs to be more study with respect to availability of workforce in America if illegal migrants are not here. And this is an argument which I find difficult to buy somehow, because you cannot have a country's economy based on the foundation where you are doing away uh, willingly enforcing the laws which are aimed at protecting uh, the nation,
Yeah.
its safety, security, etc. So, Nilima, that's a very sort of um, controversial, I would say, or rather a, a space where people see differently. How do you see it?
I think the concern here is that Donald Trump is going to be there at least another 3.5 years. So that is his time frame in which he can do the changes that he wants to do. He tried to save money through Doge, but the stock market went down, so there was a balancing act, and people felt that, well, before we even save the money, on one hand people losing jobs, on the other hand economy is going down. The domino effect of this is going to be felt in the long run. If people who lost jobs cannot pay their mortgages anymore, those houses will go on sale. Once somebody has left a house, now they have to live on their savings get exhausted. How are they going to buy another house? How are they going to, even if they get a new job, houses have become expensive. Lending rates have gone up, so there is so much flux in the economy right now in different directions that the domino effect is unimaginable. Trickle down economics is going to be very, very important. And we know the Congress the way it is, even though the Congress is there so that they don't follow word to word that the president has to say. They can make independent decisions, but chances are they are not going to make anything different than what the president is already alluding us to. So yes, critically, there are things that Donald Trump is doing, which is coming under a lot of verbal attack and criticism. I will just say we have to wait and watch for some time. But my concern is the immediate damage. The
Let me add
immediate
to that.
damage can hurt. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, Vimalji, go ahead.
Yeah, let me add to that. Here's the thing. We are talking about unemployment. We haven't gotten to that point yet. Yes, there are people being laid off by federal government, but then judges come in and they put a stay order on it. So people are not leaving, not as many. Yes, there are some leaving, but still unemployment is very low in this country. Yes, it may happen if there's a recession down the road, 10%, 15, but we don't know. We don't even get to that point. The problem right now is we're trying to create more jobs. That's what Donald Trump is doing. He's trying to bring in the factories. The reason why he's putting tariff on China and all these countries is so more stuff is produced here. So we have no shortage of work. We have shortage of people.
Vimalji, can I say
Uh,
something? These changes in tariffs, the way they are playing out globally, is we cannot even imagine. I just had a conversation with somebody in India in the morning. They said, "मेरे orders cancel हो रहे हैं. My orders are getting cancelled because contracts that were signed at a certain price, I cannot deliver them at that price. China has all of a sudden raised the cost of the raw materials. Now, if my it's going to have a global effect. Global economy is going to change, and the way the trade scenario was prior to Trump coming in, that is going to change because Ashokji, if I cannot get something from you, I will go to Vimalji and I will take it from Vimalji. So that shift is going to be there in the world, that the countries will find alternatives. They will find alternative ways of doing business, and once that is through contracts already signed for 5, 10, 15 years, that is going to be a major effect on the dollar, which we are already seeing. So there are multiple effects. I keep repeating the same point.
Okay, so let's move to specific case of China. Vimalji, you have been to China also, and you are aware about the way Chinese look at offering cheap products to different countries, including India. Also, you see many Chinese products overtake the market. Perhaps the balance, or rather disproportionate tariff imposition, also makes China being in a position to offer goods at cheaper rate. Indeed, the population and the comparatively low cost workforce also helps China, but China plays a very significant role in terms of the trade with America also. So both countries
Yes.
would be affected with the kind of war like situation in terms of trade that we have. Uh, and allow me to also mention that President Trump uh, initially declared that tariff. Then he also suggested that smartphones and computers
Yes.
would not be included, etc. But
Right.
in that particular period, till the time the second announcement came, millions of iPhones were shipped from India
Yes.
also, so that they
Yes.
could save that tariff, etc. So this uneven, or rather unstable situation of government policies is not good for business environment overall. Whenever you see, so kindly share your thoughts with US and China with respect to trade.
Yes, what it is we love China, and there's no doubt about that. And Americans love China for over 20, 30 years. We've been buying product. Walmart brings stuff in. Amazon brings stuff in. Now, Here's the thing. We are so used to cheap stuff. What's wrong with that? Let China produce. They pollute their own rivers. They pollute their skies. You can't even breathe over there. That's their problem. But they loved American dollars. So they want to produce all this. Here we have a problem at Bethpage. There is a factory in Bethpage. If it starts throwing fumes out, neighbors start complaining, and then they shut it down. This is a very typical neighborhood in any city in America. So we don't like factories. No matter what Donald Trump is doing, bringing factories, we don't like it. So the bottom line with China is that, look, we need to, eventually it's going to happen because we know China has been taking advantage of America. And that's where President Trump's biggest problem is. And that's why as soon as he came in, he said, let's just put tariffs on them, let them bow down, let them come back. The whole idea of this thing is to negotiate. He wants them to sit at the table and say, look, we we agree with your tariffs. You can charge us 25%, 40%, and we will take our tariffs down, or you take your tariffs down and we'll take our tariffs down. Free flow of goods into America, free flow of goods from America to them, because we send all the high tech GE engines and everything, Boeing and stuff that we send to that China needs, and we sell to them. This is what it all is
Yeah.
going to come
So,
down
yeah,
to.
Vimalji, let me sort of collect some of the references here. And Nilima, you would agree when President Trump says, "Make America Great Again," and that is the spirit which many voters have resonated with. And even while he announced this different set of tariff and the announcements that were made, his approval rating didn't dip, which means there was a general consensus that he is making America's position in terms of its equation with different countries, trade wise, etc., in a way that should serve American interests. So philosophically speaking, policy wise speaking, I also heard from people in India saying that they understand where he's coming from and he has every right to do that. So when we say the stand that he has taken, it is considered a very courageous and very reasonable stand. But
Yes,
how it is playing out and what are the other related factors that are causing this kind of ripples of uncertainty as well as apprehension as to what will happen tomorrow? Uh, do you feel it'll settle down maybe in a couple of months in a way that works for everyone? Because allow me to add, after this announcement, while they gave 90-day period of pause to implementing, uh, as the White House spokesperson tells us that there are many countries who have approached to sit on the table and negotiate. And of course, when you have taken this stand,
yeah,
then you have certain strength in negotiating, and people are already aware that they are going to lose some ground. When I say people, meaning different nations, in terms of
yes.
so do you see there is a positive outcome with certain pains that is likely to come for American economy? Nilimaji.
The way it is playing out is as if he has a deck of cards in his hands and he's making changes as time goes on. And that becomes an unexpected factor for the world. That's number one. Number two, when you said that he wanted to make America great again, yes, there were potential pros when people voted for him because they were expecting improved efficiency, accountability. They wanted their tax savings to go up, the stock market to go up. But what is the result is even though it's not affected the economy as much as such, like Vimalji said, but job losses are going to be there. Economic headwinds are changing, and there is the fear of misuse of power, and that is where other countries are getting scared. You can announce ceasefire, but are you going to stick by it? You can give a 90-day window. Is the 90-day window, once people come to the negotiating table, is it going to make a difference? If yes, how much? And overall, right now, there is a level of anxiety in every American that many questions are not being answered, not an immediate way, nor they don't even know what to expect anymore.
Yeah, so
That's
Nilima,
where the confusion
that
is.
factor of uncertainty, of course, is there when you are making some big overall
Right.
wholesale changes. That
Yeah,
is bound to be there. I mean, that is expected.
yeah.
But
Mhm.
let me request both of you to briefly conclude with respect to India's point of view. And while other countries were very critical, India didn't make any hue and cry, and they said that there are certain opportunities everywhere. Vimali, how do you see that? Is that a diplomatic situation where India is playing its card carefully, or do you feel that there has been some conversation between India and America prior to these announcements? Because Jaishankarji was here, and then many top US officials have visited India recently. Yeah, Vimalji.
Yeah, see, the thing is, India is at an advantage in this point. In this case, the reason is most of his actions are against China, not against India. Yes, there are some tariffs against India, but tariffs are very low. So India has an opportunity here to jump in. They're already making Apple phones. They have chances to make other things. I hope Elon Musk builds a electric car factory in India. So these are the opportunities for India to embrace the tariff, whatever it is, doesn't matter, and then say, look, bring all your manufacturing here, whatever you want, we'll build it for you. Because India has been backlag the whole time behind China, way behind China. China has been way above that. And now America doesn't like it. So this is a great opportunity. We should do it. We should move in and start building.
Yeah, Nilima, your take from India's point of view of this scenario.
Well, my take is very broad, and that is depends on the country. If a country has enough economic strength to have the wherewithal not to be affected by global changes in the tariffs because they are a producer themselves, so their story stays within their country. But for things that are coming from outside of their country, that is where the change matters. Secondly, if you're a small country and you are affected in a big way because of these tariff changes, they are the ones who are going to get hurt most. There is a crescendo in terms of 145% going all the way down to 10%. There are some people for whom even
Just,
10% is
yeah,
too much.
yeah, just about India, just about India.
Just about India. India is going to take advantage. Like Vimal said, they will take advantage. They will make the best, and they will always have a bargaining chip in their hand. That if this is what you want to do on the left side, this is what we will do on the right side. So there is going to be a
Yeah,
balance.
let's see how things play out. And as we, as human race or as Americans, we are always hopeful, and there is a sense of optimism in spite of all the challenges that lies ahead. Sometimes there are teething problems of some positive change. Sometimes that pain may last longer than what we would like it to. But nevertheless, very very exciting period. It's like the whole global economy is in a state of flux at the moment, Vimalji, and that I mean beyond economy, it shows that America is still is a super superpower
Yeah,
which is
so
affecting everybody. It can affect. So I hope that through negotiations things will reach to a win-win situation for everyone, and that is
I
what
think
we
we'll
hope.
come out of this. That's the thing. We'll come out ahead.
Wonderful.
Let's hope for the best.
Absolutely. So thanking Vimalji, thanking Nilimaji,
Thank you.
Thank
and,
you. Thank you for having us, Ashokji.
and thanking all of you, and as well as we pray for the best outcome of the current scenario. This is Ashok Vyas. Namaste.